Yeah, so I was speaking earlier about my trial, and my trial is so crazy. You know, even the day I went to my trial, I'll never forget it. The day I went to my trial, the same individuals that I had been on YouTube ranting about, talking about how I was being gang stalked, contract stalked, the day I went to my trial, the same individuals were following me around all the way up until even in the parking lot outside the county building while I was out on bond. That whole 7 months I was out on bond. I was out on bond for like 7.5 months. I was being stalked the whole time, even at the trial. Like when I went to the trial, I remember I sat down on the bench and there was only one black jury member, and it was a woman, and she came and sat down next to me. And I could tell by the way she walked to the deliberation room, I could tell that this was going to be something that was going to be very difficult to able to explain to the jury. And I sat there. It was unbelievable. But so the lady that was doing the typist work, the secretary or whatever, uh, she was wearing a red shirt. Then the cop, the detective, the lady with him sitting on their side, they were the ones coming to testify on me or whatever. And I took the stand at my jury trial. I took the stand and explained my story at the jury trial. But they were wearing red. The woman working for the police department, the Norton Shores Police, she was wearing a red shirt. The secretary was wearing a red shirt. Then the jury, like I'll never forget it. I knew the jury box. I felt the jury box was rigged. I felt it was a rigged trial. Like when I was out in the parking lot, one of the members of the jury, it was a woman, like she was looking at her phone and kept walking by me when I was outside smoking a cigarette. And one of the members of the jury, I felt, knew the people that were testifying against me. And the way she kept looking at the woman who was testifying against me, who claimed, who made all these claims against me. There was a woman in the jury box, in fact, who had red hair, believe it or not. And the way they were looking at each other, like when the woman was getting I just knew. I knew somebody in the jury knew what was going. That's how I felt. I felt that. And so the jury, like one of the guys in the jury had an orange shirt on. And like I had been talking on YouTube for months before this. Like I had an older YouTube channel with like over 1 million views on it and like 5,000 subscribers. And on my other YouTube channel, this was like way back before my trial, I was talking for months about people with red shirts following around. And so I just so happened to go to a trial, and the secretary, the typist, wearing a red shirt, and the lady with the cops was wearing a red shirt. Then in the jury box, the whole time I'm in the county building, I can tell people are coming and going, they're involved with it and stuff. And in the jury box, one of the guys, the main guy in the jury, he was wearing, I want to say main guy, he stood out the most. He was wearing an orange sweatshirt that said Lakeshore Lakeside on it. And that was involved, like my perception of that was interesting because I was talking for months before that about a girl. There was a girl that I was messing with, I was seeing, and her hair was red, but it looked kind of orange. And we were hanging out every day. And I said, "Oh, your hair is turning orange." So they started having people like, if people can get the mimic effect, if that makes sense to people who have educated themselves up to that point, they were actually, a lot of the contract stalkers were wearing orange. Okay. This is like a psychological mirroring that happens where they pick things and pick themes that mirror the person's personality who is being targeted through the contract stalking. So the guy who stood out the most, he was wearing an orange shirt, an orange sweatshirt. And like when I was hanging out outside this was an interesting trial. When I was hanging out outside the county building, like there were like people doing street theater and stuff, and members, like there was like a couple members of the jury that kept walking by me when I was outside, and one of the members of the jury like kept looking me in my eye like that, and I just felt that the whole thing wasn't safe. I think it was unfair, and I definitely was the victim. I definitely was the victim, and I didn't even know the woman who gave the testimony. I didn't even know who she was. Like as soon as I saw the police report and I saw it was a 29-year-old, I knew it wasn't the girl that I sent the flower. Like I knew the whole thing was fake. you know.
And I was sitting there watching, I was sitting there basically saying, I don't know who this woman is. Like that, I kept saying that. I was like, I don't know who the woman is. All I did was send flowers to a different woman and make some YouTube videos. And then they twisted everything around and said I tried to pull some woman out of a car and I sent her. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, none of it made any sense. And, it was a trip. That trial was a trip, you know. And I was in jail. Like, I can't believe how many politicians I wrote and how many colleges and churches I wrote. And, it, to sit there in jail knowing you were the one, like, it'd be different. It'd be different if it was just a simple mistake. But to sit there in jail for a year, not only knowing you were framed, but knowing that you were framed by people who were harassing you, that's crazy. That's really crazy. And I just encourage people to look into my case. Like, if people can get, lawyers looking at my case and stuff, go ahead, go for it. You can always email me, ask me questions.